Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a quick look at the sideboards here and then jump straight on into the Magic and see who comes out between these two players here. Both excellent players. So we're in for a treat.
Yeah, and two players sitting at 25 points, 24 points here are kind of that middling area where they got to just do a little bit better to get into the top four. And most importantly, not do any worse to be lowered down into the lower tier.
Yeah. Kicking things off here with Heart's Desire apiece from both players. Some interactive spells in hand and Scorching Dragonfire, and the Giant Killer on the other hand there for Autumn Burchett. Just going to start things out here as we've expected, or we've come to know and love from the adventure decks. It's just like, oh, cool. Turn 1, Heart's Desire. Turn 2, something's getting stomped or Scorching Dragonfire. And then we're going to see big old Beastie Boy on turn 3.
Yeah, it really is kind of just the scripted out adventure versus adventure. It's if you don't start with the Lovestruck Beast, you better mulligan because that card's so good.
It is rather good. But one thing that I have noticed from this version that Márcio is playing, as well as the Naya decks, they don't include Great Henge. So not valuing that card draw, rather going for, just the typical edge roll Innkeeper card draw or the Showdown of the Skulls, which we've seen from the Nihilists.
Yep, absolutely. So the Scorching Dragonfires are definitely going to be pretty helpful here for Márcio. Just that little, Bone Crusher Giant 5, 6, 7, and 8. It really helps keep the Innkeepers off the battlefield. And there's not as much spot removal from the Naya side of it.
Not at all. As we're going to see Lovestruck Beast hit the battlefield here for Autumn Burchett after attacks, saying to Eddie, hey, you want to block? No, of course not, says Márcio. And we're going to get an extra card here drawn off of this powerful little 1/1.
Yeah, unfortunately, not a great play for Autumn past turn 3. We do have the Giant Killer to kill Lovestruck Beach, which is okay, but Autumn really wants to try to find some gas. Showdown of the Scalds or Goldspan Dragon within the next couple terms. But hey, Bone Crusher Giant, pretty solid as well.
Yep. Can take care of that Edgeroll Innkeeper. Won't be able to play both removal spells this turn, though.
Yeah, so you gotta really make a choice here. But like what you were saying is the very important thing of not having Great Henge to worry about. Normally, you just have to kill Lovestruck Beast immediately because if they land Great Henge game 1 without these artifact removal, it's just game. But now you can kind of actually block. I know this is unheard of. You can actually just block that card instead of having to kill it on site. But still being mana efficient, choosing to chop down instead of stomp the Innkeeper, I really like.
Yeah, and potentially a consideration there to Sajiri Shelter on blocks to protect from green. But we do know that the Goldspan Dragon loves a little bit of Sajiri Sheltering, and then allowing it to unleash its fury upon the world.
Yeah, that Goldspan Dragon has just been living such a sheltered life, just good for that dragon.
He's got to get out there, He's got to unleash fury a little bit.
Oh, God, we're nailing it. We're nailing it. Another little sad story here from Márcio is just 2 Innkeepers without another adventure creatures. Gets pretty awkward because Edgeroll Innkeeper, just with power and toughness in mind, not a very good card. 1 mana, 1/1, not ideal. But if you can top deck some of these adventure cards, it just becomes unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I mean he's drawn 2 cards already. Let's not get too greedy here. Okay, he'll find it.
Sure. The inn has already been kept. That's for sure.
Ooh, Castle's Fury off the top here for Autumn. Unable to attack with the little Lovestruck Beast. Courtesy of Márcio taking care of that Innkeeper. So it's just this 1/2 going to swing in here. We see a double block from Márcio. Nope, he's quite happy just to let this through. Takes the 1, goes down to 18.
Yep, and that's the situation where we were really looking for, if your Autumn here, is just something to really put you over the top, with Márcio's hands not being that good either. Something like, once again, Showdown of the Scald, Goldspan Dragon is what we're really knocking the top of the deck to try to get.
Yeah, so at this point, they're kind of just trading blows, resources back and forth.
Yep.
Just looking for something impactful off the top of the library, and another land for Márcio, ain't it? Scott Arnie Brokenbrow on the battlefield. You know how many times it took me to get Arnie Broken Brow right? It's kind of like one of those tongue twisters. It's like, try to say that 10 times fast. But there is Showdown of the Skulls off the top for Autumn, and things could get real spicy real quickly here.
Oh, yeah, that was huge because Autumn has these cards that work really well with Showdown of the Scald. All three of those cards work really well with Showdown, but just needed that. So that was unbelievably huge.
Here, dragon. Here, little buddy. Come on. Where are you? Where are you? Not there. Gosh darn it.
Still not bad. We got an adventure creature. And I mean, here's the really nice thing about that. Shepherd of the Flock is eventually going to draw you 4 to 5 more cards. 1 with triggering Edgewall Innkeeper and 4 with returning Showdown of the Scalds whenever it's convenient to Autumn and then just replaying that. So that was a great pickup.
Yeah, so Shepherd of the Flock is an interesting card because I think the very first iteration of the Naya deck was including Shepherd to bounce back the permanent, which being Showdown of the Skulls. But I've noticed almost every single matchup that we've seen on coverage, they all get taken out. So is it actually worth the spot in the deck, or do you think something else could be there?
Yeah, it is interesting. And I think every time that we've seen it get taken out, it's other adventure mirrors, it's other aggressive matchups. So I would be curious if that is a card that is still really good against Sultai or Rogues or something. But it doesn't seem like a home run in those matchups either. So I'm kind of with you. It's not unbelievable, but there are situations like this where it just seems great. And it's a low opportunity cost because it's still a 2-mana 3/1. It can still save a creature from a removal spell. This is just kind of that extra mode for it that makes it pretty flashy and cool.
Yeah. Certainly has a cool factor going when it can bounce that Showdown of the Skulls. A meeting of the minds there between Arnie Broken Brow and our little giant friend. I say little again, but still a pretty chunky creature there for a 3/3.
It'll be interesting to see what Autumn chooses to do here. Could play Edgewall Innkeeper, but then it is pretty vulnerable. But outside of that, doesn't look like Autumn will really want to play anything else. So I think it is just, do I want to risk Edgewall Innkeeper or not? I think that's what's going through Autumn's head.
Besides that, we're going to risk it for the biscuit. Edgewall Innkeeper down in the battlefield. There is that Shadow Skull Smashing hanging out in Marcio's hand. It is quite the expensive removal spell, but knowing what's coming next and knowing that you could potentially die on the spot courtesy of a bunch of shenanigans, I think it's time to shatter some skulls.
Yep, shattering some skulls, and I'm pretty sure that is a white mana available for Autumn right there. I can't really tell with that promo pathway there, but we might be able to just save Innkeeper, and then it's really a no-brainer to play that card.
Yeah. Certainly Shepherd of the Flock can jump in here and save the 1/1, allowing the Lovestruck Beast to attack next turn. And get all the counters out.
Yeah, and a pretty big sigh from Marcio there. Just another land off the top. He's been going with the Brian Braun-Duin way of thinking and just draw land whenever you can.
I mean, if it was a landfall deck, that'd be great. But
there we go.
You know. All right, so no saving of the 1/1. It dies a miserable death under a pile of rocks, and the turn will be passed back. Shepherd of the Flock is going to bring back the Showdown of the Skulls and go and get a couple more cards there off the top of the library. Oh, hello. Why not some more?
Another one.
Seems good.
So we don't have Chapter 2 of Showdown yet, but we can't really attack with this Lovestruck Beast unless we find hello, Edgewall Innkeeper.
You know we still haven't found? A freaking dragon.
No kidding.
Where's the dragon?
Oh,
Marcio's had enough. He says, nope, I'm not going to be able to deal with this card advantage. You have me in your grasp, and I am going to die now. So round number 1, or game number 1, goes to Autumn Burchett. And let's take a look at the sideboard decisions here of both players. What do they bring in from the sideboard to deal with this matchup?
Yeah, so we see what they're bringing in and out. I just wanted to bring one quick bit of attention to this Naya Adventure deck. And the reason why I've been liking it so much is we always, every time we've been watching this, usually it's like, okay, they're doing about the same stuff as these Gruul decks. And then all of a sudden they play a Showdown and you look and 2 turns later, they have 7 cards in hand, you know? So I really like it in these adventure mirror matches, just because as long as you don't lose to that very aggressive like mammoth, brushfire elemental, cleave it up and hit you for a lot. The longevity you get from Showdown of the Scald just makes it seem so worth it.
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of Escape the Wilds, right? Where you just get all these cards that you can do stuff with. And okay, you don't get the extra land or anything like that, but just the second and third chapters being able to put so many counters on your things. And it's a very, very powerful card. And I'm glad it's in the Boros colors because, go Boros bros.
Exactly. And Escape the Wilds, if anybody remembers, that card was too good for standard and was banned. So why not play the card that does a similar effect and, in fact, a similar effect and then adds on top of it? Yeah.
Don't get it banned. It's too...
Sure. No, God. Standard is far too healthy for any ban. Standard has just looked amazing this weekend. Wouldn't you agree, Ailey?
I would agree. It's great to see all these diverse decks going at it.
Yes.
Let's jump into game number 2 here between Autumn, Burchett, and Márcio, if they are ready to rock and roll, which they are, and that is not a good-looking hand. Autumn just sighing at what she's seeing. Oof. No. I mean, technically it's 2 lands, but still.
2-lander. Yeah, it's a little risky, but just valuing the power of Chop Down. Chop Down is really what's making this hand playable, because if we get one more land, being able to kill Lovestruck Beast right when Márcio plays it, or be able to kill a Bone Crusher Giant right when Márcio plays it, does hold some value.
That is correct. Unfortunately, I don't think we found a land off the top. I'm not too sure if that card is on the right there. But Bone Crusher Giant doing what it does best. Good old stomp to the face on turn 2.
Yeah, we did find a second Sajiri Step, so we do have that mountain on the far left for Autumn, so we will be able to chop down this Bone Crusher Giant next turn, but, you kind of get that value with the Innkeeper. Autumn's hand is pretty weak to Innkeeper right now.
Yeah. There's another land for Márcio. That's enough land now. You can cast your Embercleave, so cool down on those. And let's chop down some giants, take 2 to the face, courtesy of Bone Crusher Giants. And, ooh, hello. All right. Okay, now Autumn's going to be very happy that there's 2 chop downs in hand.
Yeah, and Márcio is even happier to see that Lovestruck Beast. That was perfect on curve, being able to play the Heart's Desire with Lovestruck Beast. Definitely everything you wanted if you're cheering for Márcio on this one.
Oh, yeah. Now, here's an interesting decision. We're going to see the Giant Killer, but we can also show down all the Scalds here. I think you could just... this is rough. So blocker in the way, first and foremost. That's good.
And normally, your hand is pretty forced in these situations with the Great Hand. You just chop it down right away no matter what. Autumn did have the option to wait, but let's get real. That card's going to have to be killed anyways. So, yeah.
Yeah. Knowing that there's big dumb things that the Gruul deck likes to do in the form of, Embercleave. You want to kill the biggest thing on the board as soon as you can.
And I like this play from Márcio here, being able to play Brushfire Elemental, get in a third land, attack with everything, and represent this Embercleave. Makes this a pretty face-up and obvious card, but just what do you do against it? This is a rough one.
Yeah. Embercleave, alive and well, jumps onto the battlefield, is going to protect this Edgewall Innkeeper. Not a game-ending attack by any means, but certainly getting him one step closer to picking up game number 2 here.
Yep, Márcio definitely practices his ABCs before this match. His always be cleaving on time. That's a smart man.
You're not cleaving, you best be leaving.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you. Let me trademark that before you steal it.
Yeah. Oh, I already wrote it down, so too late.
No. All right. So Autumn has plenty of things that she can do, but what helps her the most in this situation?
Yeah, this is brutal. What Autumn has really wanted this whole game is a Bone Crusher Giant, just to take out this Innkeeper. This Innkeeper has drawn a couple cards and just overall been a pretty big pest here. We can use this Red Cap Melee to deal with the Brushfire Elemental pretty effectively, and then even playing a Giant Killer, which is going to be good. It's going to be pretty helpful, but I'm just looking into the future and seeing Questing Beast with a cleave on it, and that gets pretty terrifying real quick.
Oh, yeah. Questing Beast is exceptionally terrifying due to the fact that it's got Death Touch as well. Being able to trample through just has to deal 1 point of Death Touch damage to whatever's blocking it, and then the rest tramples on through.
Yeah, Death Touch and Trample is quite the combo here in Magic the Gathering.
It's quite gross, isn't it?
It's disgusting, absolutely. Yeah. But one cool play that Autumn does have available to her is being able to Shepherd of the Flock back a Giant Killer and then chop down Questing Beast, you know?
Yeah.
And one thing we were talking about, I didn't even really realize it, Autumn did not take out Shepherd of the Flock. And I kind of like it. It looks good right now.
Yeah.
Just as bringing back Giant Killer.
Just one copy went out, but like you mentioned, being able to replay adventure creatures, you know, get a blocker in the way and then save it just before damage is done. So here we go. It's combat time.
Here we go. The all attack button, everybody's favorite.
Oh, yeah. All right, so Red Cap melee. Only thing available to Autumn at this point. Can take care of the Brushfire Elemental, like you said, without having to sacrifice a land. May opt to kill something bigger if under pressure.
Yeah, this is interesting because we can do some kind of tricks here with Red Cap melee on the Lovestruck Beast. If we make this block exactly. And I guess this would just be lethal, right? If Autumn makes this block, she loses the game. Because you can melee the Lovestruck Beast, you trample over for 3, and then Questing Beast is the final 4, so you end at -1. I think the only block that would have kept Autumn alive here is putting that Lovestruck Beast on Questing Beast, and then Red Cap meleeing. But yeah, this one's not going to work out.
Yep, so there's Red Cap melee on the Brushfire Elemental. And in response, Márcio is going to say, oh, I've got one of those. And Red Cap melee right back, getting rid of that toughness and allowing the Edgewall Innkeeper to trample through for the damage needed to get this game won and done.
Yeah, rough combat phase there. That was a tricky little play from Márcio.
Very tricky indeed, but you called it, Corey. There is the victory for Márcio Carvalho in game number 2. So we're going to go to the third and final one between these two adventure decks.
Yeah, looking pretty good. I think, the majority of games that we've seen in this matchup, whoever's on the play is very advantaged, but not to say that it's 100% how this matchup plays out. But being on the play here for Autumn is going to be an advantage.
Yeah, for sure. So be interesting to see what the sideboard decisions are in terms of, having more reactive spells, more attacking spells, that sort of thing, as both players make their decisions. And we get ready to jump into game number 3.
Yep, that is a very good point. Trying to be more proactive on the play and a little more reactive on the draw.
Yeah, so you see a couple of removal spells brought in there for Autumn in the Scorching Dragonfire and Red Cap melee. Shepherd of the Flock out, and all of the Unleashed Furies coming out.
Yeah, doesn't really care to have that combo finish anymore. That is usually pretty true with matchups that interact a lot, that you just do not want to have that kind of pump spell-esque play. Yeah. Really not great hands from either player. Not insane hands from either player.
Yeah, nothing to write home about for sure. We finally found the dragon, though, in duplicate.
Yep, Goldspan Dragon going to be making its first appearance of the match if Autumn were to get to 5 lands. I like this consideration from Márcio here. Like, normally you just think, okay, why on earth would I not just jam Innkeeper? But it is really just with thinking Bone Crusher in mind, like just leaning right into the curve of Autumn Burchett is something that Márcio is not interested in to get 1 damage through.
Yeah, it's always bit of a dance between these players, or any red-based deck. It's like, okay, how much do I need this Edgewell Innkeeper? Do you have Stomp? Am I just sending it to its death without getting any value off it? So...
But now I really like it here. Like, it still can die to a Stomp, but the one factor that's really different here is the Fabled Passage being in play, that you can't Stomp and then just play something on your third turn. If Autumn were to kill Innkeeper now, it would take up her whole turn. So that is definitely a factor.
Yeah, still not finding anything to do on turn 3, though. Chop Down isn't active at this moment.
Yeah, and looking like it's not going to get a target here either. So... not great, but Autumn being able to play Showdown next turn, likely find land 5, is still going to be very powerful.
Yeah. Choice there between Arnie and the Kazandu Mammoth goes from Mammoth, so that next turn we can get Arnie hasted out, or even potentially steal something here from Autumn if there's a threat developed, but nothing coming here for Autumn Burchett.
Yeah, just recognizing that Autumn thinks she's behind enough that she's going to have to chop down this Mammoth. We'll see if Márcio doesn't play a land. This would be some next level play here if he doesn't. Oh, wow. He's good. just completely...
Márcio Carvalho is widely regarded by many of his peers as the best player to not be in the Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. I definitely believe it.
So he certainly knows everything that he should be playing around and is doing so masterfully.
Oof. And a rough draw there for Autumn. Just not being land 5. That's being the main thing here. Land 5 with 3 Goldspan Dragons. That's just all you want to see.
I mean, can run out 2 creatures here, but could actually run out 3 if we go and find another Plains, but that's not something you really want to be doing with this deck with all these double pipped spells.
Yeah, really unlucky draw there from Autumn. You have the option of going Innkeeper, play a Giant Killer, hope to draw land 3 so that you could hold up Chop Down. But, Márcio just made that play not leaning into Chop Down. Why wouldn't he do it again,
Yeah. Worked once. Why not do it twice?
Yep. The only thing that is really holding back from Márcio not playing a land is he does need double red for Embercleave. So that is a huge incentive to playing it, even if your Mammoth would get chopped down.
Yeah, but at this point, I mean, he's seen Autumn not play anything on the battlefield yet. So he's probably thinking to himself, do I ever need Cleave to win this? Sure, I'll win quicker. But now with the guard down for Autumn...
I was going to say the only thing that's probably going to save Autumn is that red cap melee. That is huge. That was needed. I don't know if it's going to be enough right now, and you may just have to red cap melee the Mammoth for Embercleave purposes.
Yeah, I think it's a case of, all right, if you're playing double red, that smells like an Embercleave to me. Which creature is it going on? Let's see what Autumn decides.
If this trigger resolves, the game is over because Mammoth goes to 5 and then Embercleave on it is 12 damage.
Yeah, but you can't red cap melee that. So it's going to be Arnie Brokenbrow who gets taken out, but it's not going to be enough as Embercleave will give the Mammoth 6 power, swings in for 12, and that is going to be the game. Márcio Carvalho with the victory here over Autumn Burchett. Very, very well played.